Hey, all you little dummies out there. This is the head. Big, cold-blooded dummy. What we got going on here today, guys, is dun da da da. We got the Himalayan. Okay, guys, what we're doing here today is we're putting in a new MOTOBATT. So, the original MOTOBATT, which is over here, I put this in shortly after I got the bike. Oh, it says right on there, I wrote on here, I didn't realize that. I put it in October 1st, 2021. You can barely see it on there. Okay. So I put that in. That's been, let's see. Yeah, it's been 5 years. So one of the cells went bad and it wouldn't hold a charge. Normally I get between 5 and 10 years out of the MOTOBATTs. So I mean, I'm okay with, it's not ideal to have to replace it so quickly, but I'm okay with it. So anyways, this is the part number that fits into the Himalayan. Okay, and I've already got it swapped out, and I just wanted to show you guys a little trick that the dummy came up with. So if you notice here, all this crap has to kind of get moved out of the way. This little bracket has to come off, and you undo this bolt, and then on the back side over here, there's a little hook that hooks onto a tab. So you have to slide it to the left and then manipulate the bracket out of the way. Okay, then you get all these wires kind of tucked out of the way and you start sliding the battery out. Now this frame right here, the corner of the battery down in the corner down there is going to hit this frame. So you have to kind of start cocking. The right side of the battery has to get kind of cocked off to the left. And it's a tight fit. So what the dummy ended up doing, I took the Meguiar's Tire Shine foam and I sprayed it in here all around and inside and kind of wiped up the excess. And what that does is that gives it a little bit of lubrication in order to be able to slide that battery out. Because you're going to have to cock it to the side and you're going to have to force it to come out. And then once you get it out, I used the tire foam and I sprayed it inside there and I wiped out the battery box. And then on the new battery, I sprayed the new battery with the tire foam and wiped it down, and that gave it a little film of slipperiness. And that allows you to install it without having a lot of difficulties. Okay, so then once you get it back in, obviously, you reverse the procedure of all the wires and the bracket and all that. And then here is my my trickle charger connection, and it just goes up into the let me come around on this side. It just goes up into the positive and negative terminals. Okay, and then I'm gonna okay, you see this connector here, guys? There used to be a factory plug here, but it wasn't being used by anything. I'm not sure what it was for, but it's a keyed ignition source. Okay? So what I ended up doing was I cut the plug off and I attached these little connectors, one to the negative and one to the positive. And this only comes on when the ignition is turned on. So what I ended up doing was, guys, I used that source for my fog lights. And if you notice up here, I have I made a bracket and I mounted my fog light switches on here. Okay? And then let me show you my fog lights. So I got, these are dual color fog lights. Okay, so you can hit one color and it turns on yellow, and then you can flip a switch and it turns on clear. So if you notice up on the switches, one of the switches, this switch here has a yellow light. So when you flip it on, a little yellow light comes on, and that indicates that you have the yellow fog lights on. And then when this one comes up, it turns blue, indicating that you have the clear fog lights on. And then let me show you in here how I wired up the... So what I did is I just took the wiring harness that came with the fog lights and brought it up in here, and then it goes up and it connects with the other side. And I've got heat shrink tubing on here, and you have to allow some slack for the suspension travel. And then it just comes up and goes up into the bottom of the switches, and everything is connected up inside here. And then I just wrap this with electrical tape. And at a later date, I'm gonna make a little cover for this out of Kydex that I can install over this. That'll slip on here, and then that'll button that up. And then I'm gonna paint the bracket. I'm gonna paint the bracket black. Okay, and then the bracket, it just mounts onto the handlebar clamp, and it's on there. It's secure. It's not going anywhere. So when you're riding down the road, you can, when they're in the down position, that's fog lights all the way off, and then that's yellow fog light, and that's blue fog light. Okay, so the wire, the main wire, power wire for the fog lights, I just had it underneath the fuel tank, and I just had it it looked kind of ugly. So what I'm doing is, since I have this all torn apart here, I'm gonna wrap the wire with, I have some heat shrink tubing. So I'm gonna wrap the wire with heat shrink tubing, and I'm gonna put some heat shrink tubing on the little ends and make those look all nice and professional. And then I'm gonna put some heat shrink tubing on these little guys and get this kind of buttoned up. And then I'm gonna bring the wire down underneath here behind this panel and blend it in with all this other stuff, and then up and over here, and then, oops, sorry guys, down through here, up and over and underneath here, and then tie it back into the power source. Okay, there we are. So that's what we're doing right now. We're just basically getting all the wires buttoned back up, and then I'm gonna get some zip ties, and I'm gonna connect all this back together and just make it neat. Okay, and then I can put the side cover plate back on and get the seats back on, and then this job will be buttoned up. So I'll check back in with you guys in a little bit. Hey Red, come here boy. Are we gonna check back in a little bit? Yeah Daddy, we'll check back in a little bit. Okay, later Gators. Oh, hey dummies, I wanted to mention one more thing. So, when I first got this bike, I had talked about doing some tool tubes. And I had seen some other people and da-da-da. And I was going to make some fancy bracket. And I was going to mount the tool tubes up on top. I was going to put them down in here. I came up with this idea, guys. Look at where I have my tool tubes. I just have them mounted on the bottom of my luggage rack. Okay? And they just bolt. I drilled some holes. I did some, some measuring. I drilled some holes and I put some nuts and bolts. Okay? So on the front we got 1 bolt. And on the rear we got 2. And it's a good way to have extra storage, and it doesn't look too bad. I think it looks actually kind of cool. And they're out of the way. And what I do is I keep bungee cords inside there. Sometimes I go to Harbor Freight or wherever, and if I want to buy something kind of bulky, I can strap it up onto the top of on the top here, and I can bungee cord it down. I think I've got like 10 or 12 bungee cords just jammed up inside here. And let me see here. And then I have a couple plastic bags. I keep some extra plastic bags in here. But for the most part, I just keep bungee cords in here. You can never have enough bungee cords, especially if you're out picking stuff up, and the plastic bags are handy if you're gonna transport anything liquid. Let's see, what do I have on this side? I think I have more bungee cords on this side. Yeah, I have a bungee net, and I have more bungee cords in there. So anyways, that's what we ended up doing with our tool tubes, guys. We mounted them on the bottom of the luggage racks. And all I do is, when I go for a ride, I just double check and just make sure these are tight. I haven't had any issues with them, like rattling loose or anything. So that's what we did with the tool tubes. And then check out the custom license plate we got for the Continental GT. Okay, so we got SICK RE. And when I ordered these, I was, talking with the worker, and we were trying to figure out the spacing. And we got the space she got the space in the wrong order. There's supposed to be a space between the K and the R. So it's supposed to say SICK, and then a space, and then RE for Royal Enfield. So it's not a big deal, guys. I just have to go back and, put in another application and get another, wait another 3 months and get it fixed. So, but anyways, we got SICK RE. And then on this bike, on the Himalayan, we ordered one, and we're still waiting for them to come in. And then that will finish up all of my custom license plates. We got Ton Up. We have V7 Centenario. We have V9 Centenario. And then we have Mod versus Rocker. Okay, and then in the back we have Red Rocket, and we have Speed 4. So that finishes up all of our custom license plates. Okay, guys, we'll check back in a little bit once we get this all buttoned up. Okay, all you little dummies. The big dummy got the project all buttoned up. So the only thing I have to do is put the zip ties on. But let me show you what we ended up doing. I got this heat shrink tubing, and it comes in a big roll, and it's marine grade. So the inside has like a glue. So when you heat it up, the glue activates and it shrinks and it seals it, makes it watertight. And then I've got a bunch of these little tiny pieces that I can, different sizes, so that I can wrap the end connections. So what we ended up doing was we ran that long piece of heat shrink tubing. It goes all the way up back as far as I could get it to go underneath here. And then it comes down and it follows over here. It goes kind of down underneath here and it gets tucked away. And then it comes up and it gets poked up through over to here. Okay? And then I cleaned up these and I put some heat shrink tubing on here. Okay, let me give you a little tip here, guys. When you're wiring these little connectors, you always want to put a female and a male on one side. That way, because if you put both females on this side and then both males on this side, you wouldn't know which one goes to which. So you always want to stagger them. So that way when you go to plug it in down here, there's no way you can screw it up. Okay, hang on. Let me pause you guys for a second. Okay, guys. I just put these back together, and I didn't realize when I was installing these little plugs, ideally, you want these plugs staggered. Okay? The way I have it, I've got them connected together evenly, which is not going to be an issue, but ideally you would really want to have one of them towards the right and the other one towards the left. So that way the joint where they connect together, there's no way that can actually come in contact. But this will be okay. I'll just put a little extra, I might just wrap a little bit of just wire loom tape on there just to keep those from accidentally, chafing together. But anyways, let me show you what we got up here. So let's turn the power on. Okay, so when you flip the switch, the little yellow light comes on, and that indicates that you have the yellow fog lights on. And then same with the blue one. You bring it up and then the blue light comes on. So anyways, I'll do a, before I publish this video, I'll do a night shot. And I'll show you guys what the intensity of these amber fog lights are. Super bright. So, and also the amber lights, they point down, they point downward, and the clear lights, they tend to point a little bit upward. But super bright. Okay, anyways, we'll do another video. We'll add on to this video after it gets dark, and so that you guys can see what these lights look like. Okay, I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Hey, all you little dummies out there. This is the head. Big, cold-blooded dummy. Okay, guys, we got the project all finished, and I'm gonna just give you kind of a nighttime sample of how bright these fog lights are. Okay, so let's turn on the ignition, and then let's flip the high beams on. Okay, that's the high beam, and now let's kick on the yellow fog lights. Boom. Look at how bright that is, guys. And see, we got the yellow indicator light lit up. Okay, now let's go to the normal clear. Boom. All right, let's go. And then we got the blue light for the clear. All right, I'll pause you for a second. Okay, guys, look at how bright that is. Oh, man. You can't even look at it. And that's the clear. Okay, I'll pause you for a second. Okay, guys, this is the amber. Man, that's bright. Boy, you can't even look at it. Okay, guys, I'll pause you for a second. Okay, guys, this will wrap up this video. And the project's all done. And this is the head. Big, cold-blooded dummy signing out. Later, all you little gators out there.